supply of money, the demand and supply of money in that economy.
Right.
For instance, in this case, in Mexico, if you look at the Iran system, because outside the banking, also informed one of the 12. Redesigning the currency as a way to compel those people who have excess money, excess liquidity outside the banking system, to bring into the banking system. Two, when the to what we call inflation character or inflation target. Inflation target, that means every possible government has regarding manipulation or inflationary measures will be what we adequately manage if certain or that policy is achieved. Secondly, there have been issues around terrorist funding. Our currencies are spreading beyond the frontiers of Nigeria to acquire weapons that are used to security challenges. So, as part of ways to control security challenges, was also brought forward. Thirdly, or fourthly, as the case may be, this was not spoken by the CBN, but it was intended to mitigate issues around but that was adequately spoken because it's not economically one not project as such. But the last thing I've spoken are very key as far as Nigeria is concerned. Again, to ensure that adequately under the watch of the central bank. So these are the unique reasons that the central bank of the nation, including with recourse to the 2004 BSP or the central bank of Nigeria.
Now, can I ask a question? Now, based on the three official reasons or economic reasons that you gave, and then adding the unofficial one, which of course is vote buying, can we say that Naira redesign has achieved or is achieving and the reason for which it was done?
Yeah, it cannot achieve totally, but that does not mean that it's achieving. There are two things we need to look at.
Right.
Now, let's take it from the goal of the project. The project has an initial period and a closing period. So, if you look at this Naira redesign is implemented, or was it in the project cycle movement? Is that initiation level? The answer is no. It's gone beyond initiation to the point of implementation. The point of implementation and breathing are portions of the violation start weak. But if it has it achieved totally? It has not totally. But it achieved some, yes, because currents are being mop up from where they've been stored under the bed, inside caves. They are being mop up and they are being back into the segment. Also, it's helping the central bank to carry out what we call adequate inflation targeting and adequate control of the supply of funds. You recall that at the beginning of this project, at the beginning of this policy, the government says there's a maximum limit for which you can use your automated teller machines to withdraw. And all of these are rules that are meant to regulate our pensions for this. Again, the government is also trying to keep other measures earlier on. Now, to increase the number of people that are banned, to have several number of people that are unbanned, you bring up the electronic system. We also have what needs to reduce cash in the system because other than cash available, the tendency to use high. But one is in the electronic form, there is control in the that have been achieved. However, that is not to say that it achieved a maximum gain and the reason for which it was intended to achieve during the
talked about the electronic means of doing transaction. Recently, many people have complained or tried to transfer it's going. I mean, I agree with you that even the market women, the petty traders, people are beginning to key into the electronic means of transactions. But is it well structured? Is it capable? Does it have the right capacity?
Like I said earlier on, when you take it from the point of project management, that will make us understand it scholarly. Every project is tailored to its environmental context or situation context.
Okay.
For instance, when this policy came on board, we did not discover the flaws of the electronic transfer system. That is not to say the electronic transfer system was perfect in itself. There have been flaws so identified. But with this new policy so introduced, over time, we will begin to rectify the flaws associated with our electronic medium of banking. So there is a development, there is a part of growth as we talk regarding this policy. But there is a part of growth that this policy has initiated into the subconscious of most Nigerians because earlier on, very few people, including the unbanked people, hardly use electronics. But today, it is becoming a welcome norm. That is not to say the system is perfect. There are rooms for development, for rectification, and for improvement. And that is what the policy will do over time.
All right. Okay, so now, quick question now. I'm looking at my TV screen and I can see the President, Muhammadu Buhari, apologizing to Nigerians for the hardship that they currently feel as a result of the Naira redesign policy. So are you now saying, from what you have explained, that we Nigerians should bear the brunt for now, pending when we begin to see the benefits of the Naira redesign? Quickly, please.
The truth of the matter is this. There is no policy that achieves 100% success at initiation period, because the policy will suffer. The policy and implementation strategy will undergo modification, will undergo redesign over time as we begin to implement, because as we implement, we begin to see errors and we amend. Nevertheless, the president was magnanimous enough to apologize, because, let me say this, before the commencement of the program, you will agree with me that not every community has bank and any resemblance of deposit money system in their community. So we will definitely witness issues around challenges arising from one's inability to access cash. That will be, and it will also continue to be, because not every community is viable for banks to operate. The nearest you can get there are point of sale service that you can get. So this will continue to be, but over time it will smoothing itself when we embrace it totally. So we will begin to devise other online banking systems, such as the OPay, the other Kuda Microfinance and all of that can go to the hinterland and serve the people.
All right.
But in the nutshell, we are getting results over time.
All right, let's pause for a bit. We'll go for a quick commercial break. When we come back, I ask more questions, especially as it concerns the federal election. Stay tuned, please.
Okay.
All right. If you've been listening, we've been talking about the Naira redesign, and we've been trying to understand it. And we've been speaking with Cletus Ilugo, who is a chartered broker and chartered microfinance banker. All right. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right. So you've explained a couple of things and a couple of reasons why the Naira redesign, was done, and why people should embrace the policy, because according to you, eventually it will begin to yield positive results. But then the next question I want to throw at you is, I remember you mentioning that the Naira redesign mopped up cash from people's bedrooms, people's sewage tanks, and now it's in the bank vaults. How did that affect the election? And also, you said unofficially, the Naira redesign somehow was supposed to tackle vote buying. How did that affect the federal elections?
Yeah, thank you very much, my dear brother. You will agree with me that from 1999 to date, usually during elections, you will see people, except for this last one, you see people asking you to vote and show them where you voted, and also at the point of your departure, you probably will be greeted with an envelope or whatsoever containing something. That was not visible this time around because the cash was not so much available for people to do. And again, the awareness has also increased. But I think how the Naira redesign affected the election was in the area of mobility, cost of transport from one location to another, because the funds were not readily available for people to easily move from one point to another to cast their vote. For instance, I came all the way from Yola back to Delta State to cast my vote. It wasn't easy. I have to make use of flight. It wasn't easy to pay those flights to make sure I vote for somebody that I believe will deliver Nigeria in my own judgment, not anybody's judgment. So the cost of transport was high on the part of electorate who were trying to go out to exercise their civic obligations and civic rights. So that's a very big challenge. And again, another positive one could derive from it is that it also control the penchant to persuade people to vote in line with where the money is coming from. So to some extent, people voted according to their conscience and understanding of the manifestos of the individual candidates that came on board to speak. But before now, because of availability of funds, people will be swayed to vote against their interest and conscience. So whichever way, like I said earlier on, it is a policy that is under implementation. It has not achieved everything it wants to achieve, but we are not where we used to be before. Thank you.
Talking about the governorship election, are there things financially, of course, that we can learn from the presidential election? Like you said, it was heavy on the voters, heavy on the people, because a lot of...
Of course, everybody has listened to a candidate or two from their manifestos. It can also inform the judgment of who to vote. But I want to state this, that a kind of personal opinion anyway, the level of what happened or the result that was also announced by INEC and the position of international observers regarding that election, it might cause voter apathy during the governorship election. Except people's spirits are reawakened by the fact that they are committed to change. But because of the positions of international observers and several verdicts given with regards to how INEC conducted it, especially with regards to the fact that INEC did not upload results as promised and as contained in the Electoral Act 2022 as amended, where it was stated that votes will be uploaded. That may also affect voters' interest. But I pray this does not affect everyone, because like a system that or a strategy or a policy that has been implemented, there may be flaws along the line, but we might not rule out the fact that voter apathy might arise.
Now, earlier you mentioned Naira redesign is not a new thing. It's something that is being done, when you're trying to make certain economic policies. And you're right. A lot of countries have also used the currency redesign policy. I mean, in countries like the US, for instance, they have redesigned the dollar once or twice. I cannot tell, but I know they have redesigned. But now the point is, even the old dollar notes are still a legal tender. That's another issue. Why is it that the government of Nigeria, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, refused to allow the old 500 naira and 1,000 naira notes be legal tender?
There's something you need to understand. Let's take Ghana, for instance. Some years back, Ghana carried out redenomination of their currency.
Okay.
Sometime during the days of Professor Chukwumacha Soludo as CBN governor, he introduced the philosophy of redenomination of Naira. But the government then did not subscribe to it, and Ghana picked it up from there. And that led to Ghana's cedi having strength over Naira. That's one thing. That's another school of thought. I am both a monetarist economist and a development economist. So I talk with vis-a-vis, I talk with reference to other clients. But let me say this. When you look at the issue of 200 naira being allowed to circulate and then 500 and 1,000 not being allowed, understand this. When we look at the intended aims for which this policy is meant to achieve, issues around terrorism funding, issues around currency that are out of circulation, let me make it clear to you. How many of 200 naira notes are being hidden? How many of 200 naira notes are in the hands of those that are funding terrorism? Because it is too bulky to steal so much or to keep so much of 200 to achieve much. So that is not there. So that was why, in the wisdom of the government and the president, they allow 200 to circulate. Why 500 that is used to fund terrorism, that is used to scuttle economic activities, were asked not to be used because there was enough time for people to respond to the call over 90 days. I'm not speaking for government, please, but I'm saying these were part of the underlying reason or assumptions for which 200 naira was allowed and 500 and 1,000 naira was not.
All right. You
will not so much know what terrorism funding is or issues around ransom payment because these things are not common as it used to be in the north. I stay in the north. I know what I'm talking about.
All right.
You may not understand the implication of this banditry and the rest of them and ransom payment. When people are asked to pay 100 million, when people are asked to pay heavily, what currency are they using? And now these things are becoming, we will call it a banditry economy. You understand?
Yeah.
Kidnapping economy. We are promoting illicit business because cash is everywhere to pay. And those funds are there. So if you are sincere, if you look at when that policy came on board to date, the level of kidnapping has reduced because the amount of money that is needed to pay is not there. Where will you get it? When you pay through transfer, somebody will be held accountable because it is passing through a system that is regulated and investigated.
But now let's come to implementation. Now you've mentioned transfer. Implementation. 100 naira notes, yes, cannot be distributed in bulk, but we don't still have it circulating enough. 1, 2. Does the government or its agencies have the required willpower to ensure that they track down transactions that are illegal? Because I still believe that some people still get away with it.
The truth of the matter is this. Just like in conflict studies, there are what people will call conflict merchants. Conflict merchants are people that benefit from chaotic situation.
Okay.
In the same way, we have such people in implementation of new policies who want to scuttle every policy for personal gains. Let us be fair. If you have followed CBN over time during their on-the-spot check and monitoring, you'll find out that they discover some banks that had these notes, lock them up. So we are all involved, collectively and individually. We Nigerians must begin to think about Nigeria first before our personal gains and interests. It is only when we do this that every policies of government will trickle down to achieve its aim.
Right.
The banks, some of the banks scuttled the implementation because they said it's going to probably be business as usual. So they scuttled it. That's why we suffer this harsh. If the banks, in the spirit of oneness, in the spirit of nation building, and in the spirit of service, have followed through the policies of CBN, the directives of CBN, and implement it side by side, as if they are acting as the same key stakeholders they are, and acted in the same spirit, the level of hardship we saw would not have been the same.
All right.
But because the people were trying to scuttle it for personal gain, that was why we witnessed what we witnessed. That's just the problem.
Okay, let's open the phone lines. You can join the conversation now. Naira redesign and the elections, basically. But I know we focus more on the Naira redesign. When you're talking to an economist, you just want to sit and learn, right? So let's have your take on what we've talked about. What are you thinking? What are your contributions? What are your questions? How do you think the Naira redesign affected the federal elections that held on the 25th of February 2023? All right, the phone number to call me with is 0700 923 0923 0700 923 0923. Better still, you can send messages to the number 0809 0306 messages. I'm talking about WhatsApp or text messages. You can also watch me live on Facebook and Twitter. Nigeria Info PH is the handle. Go there, drop your messages as well. You see the live stream, drop your messages. Please call the number 0700 923 0923. Do not call the other numbers. Just call the smart number I've given to you, 0700 923 0923. This one says, redesign of money affected the federal election positively because there was no money to manipulate people against their conscience. Everyone came out equally before INEC, but INEC affected the federal election. Ezekiel Isaiah. All right, thank you very much. This one says, my name is Tangod Weche. The Naira redesign was the reason why my family and I did not travel and vote. Let's take our first call now. Okay, connection issues there. Just keep trying. I do not know what's wrong with the connection for now, but just keep trying. We'll get through. 0700 923 0923. This one says, okay, this is not for this conversation, for the previous conversation. Let's take this call. 92.3.
Yeah, hello, sir.
Yes, yeah, what's your name?
My name is Rasa. I'm calling from Obiakpo.
Welcome then. Welcome.
I've heard what the man says. I don't know whether they cannot use dollar for all these banditry kidnapper. Is it only Naira? So I just want to know.
But let me ask you a question: Is the dollar as accessible as the Naira?
Yes, for all those kidnapping then, because the mentioned kidnapping, banditry, and.
But I'm asking you a question: Is the dollar as accessible as the Naira?
No, sir.
And so how do you use the dollar then? I think that answers the question. Thank you very much for calling in. Oh, I missed that one. Do call back. Call back and let's get to hear from you. Let's talk together. 0700 923 0923. 92.3.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening. What's your name?
My name is Daniel Robinson. I'm calling from Burukuri, Port Harcourt.
Daniel Robinson, please, can you turn off your radio set, please?
Okay, sorry, sir.
All right, let's
Are you
hear.
hearing me now?
I can hear you loud and clear. Let's talk.
Okay, I want to comment on the one that the man said the 1,500 is what is used to pay settlement on the ransom for kidnapping and all the rest. So I want to ask, if that was the reason, so why the federal CBN continue to print the new 1,000 naira note and the 500 naira note, which is not even circulated in the bank?
Okay, all right, we'll get to that. Okay, go ahead. You wanted to say something else?
If that was the case, they should have stopped to bring the new 1,000 naira and the new 500 naira.
Okay. All right then.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. We'll get back to it. 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Hello. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Please turn off your radio set, please.
Okay, thank you. I've done that. Yeah, the Naira.
I can see here the echo. Please, you don't have to listen to yourself. Turn off the radio set entirely.
Okay, I say Naira, the designing of Naira. It, to me, it's a good thing to Nigeria.
Okay.
Because it will help move up excess fake funds. That is capital. Excess fake money. It will help mobile, and it will help boost the economy. Because you see, like you mentioned, somebody in your studio that mentioned of Ghana, like money in your studio, you mentioned of Ghana. You see, when Ghana changed their redesign their money, it now boosts up the value of Ghanaian money, and today they are enjoying it. That is one part. So in the side of affecting elections, I didn't see the way they help us in this election, in the sense that they later, Nigerian politicians later use dollars to bribe people. Like
did you see where the dollars? Did you see where? Did you see?
That stands to their bid.
Can you hear me?
So I didn't see the way this money redesigning or changing of this currency help in this election. I met one lady, that was yesterday, going to change the money she got from this past presidential election in River State here. She dropped at presidential, and people were laughing at her. So she's lucky that bad boys were not around. They would have just robbed her of that money.
All right.
Because
but what makes you think the money she went to exchange, the dollar she went to exchange, was from the election?
No, she told us that she's a copper. She's the one that exposed herself.
Okay. All right then.
She told us that she's a copper, that she works as an INEC, this is an ad hoc worker.
All right.
That they gave her $100. That she's going to present her to change it.
All right then.
All
right then. All right.
And this is a young Nigeria selling her own future with just a piece of 74,000 naira equivalent. So you see, the changing of the currency did not help in any way.
All right then.
Nigeria collected dollars.
All right. Thank you very much. I need to take another call now. 92.3.
Hello?
Yeah, hi. What's your name?
Yeah, this is Obina.
Obina.
Yes.
All right, then let's hear you. Please be audible. Be audible so I can hear what you're saying.
Hello?
Can you be audible, please? All right, to take another call in the absence of a proper network. But can you help react to some of the issues that have been raised? First of all, a caller did call in to say, why are we still printing the 1,000 naira denomination as well as the 500 naira denomination?
I think the listener did not get the full analysis of what I was saying.
Okay.
That are being stocked away are stored in 1,500.
Okay.
Because they are easier to store weight and value for the person storing it. If you want to keep 1 million naira in 200 naira denomination, you need a very large room to do that.
Yeah, true.
But it is not the same as 1,500. So when people refuse to follow the processes, the windows of opportunity given by government through the central bank, it became expedient on the government to instruct that such money, if you don't follow the approved channel, leave it. But if you want, bring it to central bank. That's one side. And very few people, if any, store their value on 200 naira denomination or 200 naira denomination. So even when you allow it to speculate, it is more or less funds that are in the hands of the lower Nigerians. When I mean lower here, people that are of lower economic value. Because those that have high economic value store their wealth in 1,500. So that's the underlying assumption. And again, if you want to pay some of these ransoms and all of that, it was easier. If you bring a 200 naira, nobody will listen to you because it will be too bulky for them to carry.
Yeah.
So the essence allowing 200 naira is for anyone whose income is low or whose value is low and has this to circulate it, because it's more or less 200 naira is more or less associated with people who are in the middle class and the lower class of the society.
Okay,
that's what we're trying
but some of the callers have now argued that this 1,000 naira and 5,000 naira denominations are still bulky in the hands of the elites. For instance, a day to election, the EFCC intercepted 32.4 million naira meant for vote buying, I think, in Lagos.
Yes.
Still, that period, a lecturer was, caught with 306,700 naira. Still all new money, like we like to call it in our local parlance, new money. So, and of course, a politician was caught with $500,000. So, I mean, did it really? Is the policy really working? That's what some of them are asking.
The question is that we have 2 exceptions or 3 exceptions does not make the policy faulty.
Okay.
The policy is not only about the currency. The policy is about Nigerians embracing electronic transfer system. Nigerians embracing monetary processes through electronic medium and reducing cash transactions in the society. And the number 3 again, it is aimed at inflation targeting and controlling the volume of cash in circulation that are outside the banking system. So we're only looking at it from the point of carrying cash. We're not looking at it from the point of number of people who were ordinarily on banks earlier on that have embraced banking facilities and banking services. So if you do us a favor, Google or look out for the number of Nigerians from October or November when the policy came on board that have embraced banking, who were hitherto to not using banking services, who were in the villages that never embraced banking services. So beyond cash, there are other benefits that the policy aims to achieve. The number of people that have embraced banking system or have become banks is one thing that the government is achieving. Another one is the means of using electronic transfer. And 3 is the means of reduction of carrying of huge cash transactions in the society, which also increases the propensity for people to attack you in terms of robbery and all of that.
All right.
So there are so many things that the policy is achieving.
We're out of time and I have to let you go. But what's your final word before I do that?
My final word is we are all Nigerians. Let us believe in the policy that is aimed at making Nigeria better in the long run. In the short run, we might witness some challenges. We might have some hitches and suffer. But in the long run, we will get better. I will end like this. In 2014, when Professor Charles Masoludo was CBN governor, he told us about banking consolidation. So many people kicked against it. But he said something, and I remember. He said, when we consolidate our bank, in the short run, there will be job losses.
All right.
But in the long run, Nigerian banks will take over banking in most countries in Africa. And the banks will begin to drive the economy in the long run, in the medium to long run. Today, Nigerian banks are everywhere in most African countries. Of course, in last week or thereabout, the day before the election, I returned from a tour of the East African countries. I saw a whole lot of Nigerian banks in those areas, which was a philosophy, which was a policy initiated by the CBN. After the time it was going on in 2014, many people kicked against it. But today, we are beneficiaries of it. I believe that when we allow this policy to sink down and implemented fully, we'll get better out of it. Once again, thank you, Nigeria Info, for the privilege.
All right, thank you very much.
Listeners on radio, we are grateful for your time out with Nigeria Info always. God bless.
All right, thank you very much, Cletus Ilugo there, who is a chartered microfinance banker and a chartered broker. We'll go for a quick break in a bit. But remember that after the major news at 6, I'll take all of these calls that are coming in and all of the messages that already have been sent. New Naira redesign has cost a lot. Many could not get the new Naira to travel to their polling units. Hunger was increased because of this new policy, but this government's act did not affect themselves. It surprised me up till now where we're still in this. People are dying because of hunger. Why? The money is in the bank, but they cannot collect it. All right. There's a break coming up shortly. After the break, I'll read some more messages. Then the major news at 6. And after that, we'll come back and have the open season where we get to talk about all the issues we've tackled on the show today. I'm Kala Dakurubatibo. Stay tuned. This is Hard Facts on 92.3 Nigeria Info.